essentially convicted in the media. You don't have to read but a few articles to see how negative they are about him. He has a right to have this information withheld, brought out in public, so that people can see it's not this neat little package. So people can start to wonder if Bryan's innocent. Your Honor, Bryan is innocent.
Listen up, the ashes stir, phoenix wings unfurl, seeking truth beneath the blur. Turnings for the lax, they meet the blur. Out the flames, I rise, wings scorched but unbroken. Truth the blaze, I wield, every rhyme's a token. In the nest we move, hearts stumping unison. Searching for the light where the system cuts our wisdom. Built on lies and steel, they boxed us in cages. Now we break the locks, rewrite history's pages. Innocent until proven guilty, that's the oath we recite. Under this constitution, we ignite the night. We rise like a phoenix and sink, we claim the street. Nest seekers united, our freedom can't be beat. Stand up when one falls, yeah we got your back. In a free land unbroken, we launch the righteous attack. Justice for the voiceless, break the chains of deceit. Innocent till proven guilty, our victory's complete. System cracked at the seams, built for just a few. We rip apart the scheme, bring the truth into view. Movement swells like thunder, souls fueled by conviction. Phoenix souls aligned, demanding our new vision. Marching on the courthouse, banners paint the sky. Echoes of freedom roar, watch the old guard comply. No more hidden verdicts, no more secrets sold. Every voice is a weapon, every story be told. Innocent till proven guilty, that's our final decree. Under this constitution we stand forever free. Phoenix in the dawn, truth ignites the sky. Together we stand tall, no more asking why. Listen.
Hey everyone, how are you? Here we go. Are you ready for this one? I'm telling you, it's time, people. It is time. It is a beautiful Saturday afternoon, wherever you are, evening. I hope that you will have a fantastic, fantastic night. I will be off all day tomorrow. That's why I wanted to squeeze this live in really fast at the end of this Saturday afternoon for me. Maybe Saturday night for you. Probably going to go do what you got to do. But I've been waiting all week to do this one because this is epic. This is epic, you guys. Okay? And I'm going to bring this to you in a form and fashion and break it down so simply that I want you to keep an open mind. I have the disclaimer up. Remember, these are theories and discussions shared here. They're based on publicly available information that's been given to us, personal interpretation, and total 100% speculation. It's not intended to accuse, defame, slander, or harm the reputation of any purpose or any entity in which we discuss. And these are the views of the host, not the attendees of this live stream. With that being said, everyone is presumed innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. And you are also advised to do your own research, come to your own conclusions. This channel does not offer any legal, medical, or any professional advice. I'm just a grandma, a mom, and an avid true crimer for over 20-something years. If you've been following me for any time, you know my background. When I was in nursing school, I did work with an amazing private investigator, and my background was simply skip trace, fraud investigation. You know, you got to locate people. You got to know something about them to find them. So hence, that's where some of my experience comes from. And in that process, I had been following this case. I have done many other cases. I've actually worked with police departments. So with that being said, I want you to do your research, right? That's always important. Always check facts. Ask yourself if you're feeling, does this sound right? Or does this sound kind of kludgy? I don't always get it right. I'm not perfect. Neither are you. We do this together. And that is what's built this community on like-minded individuals, thinking outside of the proverbial box that we have been put in. So I just want to say welcome to the live, all you OGs in the house, all that you are new to this stream. Make sure that you hit that like, that thumbs button. Make sure that you subscribe, and make sure I'm going to be pushing out some private content that only you as members will be able to receive, because that is how loyal you all have been to my channel, to my following from TikTok, from the Facebook, the book face, whatever you want to call it. Everyone calls it something different. So welcome in, share it with a few people. Dina, I see you coming from your RV with your 4 Yorkies, which I absolutely love. They are precious. If you don't know me yet, I love fur babies. So welcome into the nest. Get in here, get under my wing, and let's get this thing done. So I'm going to talk about the rolling crime scene, or a big fat nothing burger in the Idaho 4, in regards to Kohberger's vehicle, the elusive, infamous white Elantra. Now, if you were in my live earlier this morning, you probably saw, oh my God, the police department was looking for a silver, gray, or maybe even a bronze Elantra type of car. Yes, folks, they were. They were. Which you can go back and watch that live, catch up and see what's going on. That's the beauty of YouTube. You can go back, watch a long form. You can listen to it. I can cut it down into 30-minute segments and throw it back up there, and you can listen to 30 minutes at a time while you're in the car, driving, cleaning, whatever have you. And that's the beauty of streaming and being able to edit your own content. If you're not a content creator and it's something that you want to do, I always highly encourage anyone, try it, see if you like it. If not, find something else. But what I want to say here is welcome in. I am so glad there are so many other people that are questioning the same thing I've been questioning for years. Now, I never really made content on the Idaho 4 because I wasn't getting any information. Everything was speculation. I like to see facts, evidence, court records, and then share. You have to have something tangible to be able to talk about in factual writing. Now, with that being said, we do have now the Moscow Police Department reports. We do have ISP reports. We have crime scene photos. We have video now of the cop cams. We have some other things that have been dropped. And when I say that, that is officially, not just out of the blue, somebody leaked it. I'm talking about official. Okay? Official. Now, before I start this in regards to Kohberger in the vehicle, I want to show you something that a lot of people have been talking about. You know, I did this video the other day. We talked about the Vampire Diaries. People are now associating some of the things that Dylan said with some scenes in the Vampire Diaries. And I just want to preface this in this segment real quick before we get into the car, that it is perhaps factual. It's more likely than less likely to be true. More likely to be true that perhaps Dylan was watching Vampire Diaries and associated the hero, obviously in this picture of the Vampire Diaries, with somebody that had bushy eyebrows. If you watched any of the Vampire Diaries, you will notice a common theme in the Vampire Diaries. What I noticed is that it's not a series I would personally watch, but I did my research. I did my homework. I started watching some of these episodes and I'm thinking, wow, this is pretty, like, psychologically, in my humble opinion, I'm no expert on this, but it was kind of like it could get into my psyche and I could see the actual correlation with some of the things that she was saying. Was just some movie that came to life for her? Was she being rescued by 2 men? What was the crux that made her think, as part of this thing that was happening in the house, that she was being rescued, she was being saved? Okay? And I started to think about the bushy eyebrow comment. Now, I really want you to think about this. In the video of the cop cam, she never really mentions bushy eyebrows. Okay, now I'm just going to say this because I've watched the video a few times now. I'm not going to sit here and watch it all over again. It's almost an hour. And when I say I do the research, I do the research. I did not hear her mention anything about bushy eyebrows. Okay. And so I'm thinking to myself, well, where perhaps did she get this bushy eyebrows from? So let's go back real quick to the ISP documents, page 395, interview number 137. And let's take a look at this real quick because I want everybody to understand. So on December 30th, okay, this is like the day before or the day of Kohberger is arrested. This is the day, I believe. Let me just look at this. I want to make sure I got my dates right. December 30th, 2022. They already had his name. And yeah, it came out on December 30th that he was arrested. Does everybody agree? This is a community effort. I think it was December 30th. Yes. Okay. So here is the date. I'll share this real quick. Here's the date that he was arrested. So this was December 30th. This was reported, updated on the 31st at 3:37. So he was arrested. It was so close to us the whole time. Neighbors and students of UI killing suspect Bryan Kohberger react to his arrest. All right. So you kind of get where I'm going with this, right? So we're going to go back to the documents and we are going to look at them. This was on the day he was arrested. On December 31st, Idaho State Police and another detective with Idaho State Police and someone else, right? Obviously, the person who wrote the report is Joseph Lake, and another ISP detective, Gary Tolson, interviewed blank blank in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, with her attorney, blank, who was candid and provided victimology-related information as her deceased friends and her friend, yada, yada, redacted, heavily blank. Now, they acknowledged that they're watching the breaking news about suspect Bryan Kohberger being arrested for the quadruple murder. She denied knowing Kohberger. So right here, everyone suspected that, Dylan knew Kohberger. This narrative that I'm reading from you is, in fact, Dylan's statement. And you'll understand as I go a little bit further along in this statement. Okay? So she denied knowing Kohberger. So she doesn't know Kohberger. He doesn't know her. There is no connection between Maddie, Kaylee, Ethan, Xana, and Dylan. There is no connection. Now, could she be telling us something else? Possibly, but she denied knowing Kohberger. So we all on the same page? Just want to make sure before I keep going. So she's 19. She's a white, successful individual. Okay, they go and approximately 9:45, they go and they interview. Okay. That was the beginning of the summary. They go back and they say, okay, during our meeting, I provided her with a review of questions to be asked on the arrest of suspect Kohberger that was published by the national news media. On the morning of this interview, both Detective Tolson and I answered general questions and the concerns from blank before the interview with blank. So obviously, maybe some general questions from the attorney before they actually interview Dylan again. Because this is like the third, fourth, how many interviews? Don't know. Okay. At approximately 10:15, I met with blank's mother, and blank was provided me with the blank redacted insight to our redacted interview. Blank agreed to complete the blank to be interviewed about her blank friends. Blank, friends, redacted. The interview began at approximately 11:12 a.m. And here's a summary of the interview. Listen to the audio for full details. So they have this on tape. Before residing at blank, which we believe it's the 1122, in Moscow, she became friends with blank through her sorority pledge class. The sorority and blank she met had become friends with Madison Mogen, okay, who was blank. During the spring of 2022, through Mogen, she met Kaylee, but didn't really get to know her since she was in a different sorority. All right, stay with me. In August of 2022, she met Xana and Kernoodle's boyfriend, Ethan. For the fall semester 2022, the 5 females, I'm going to assume that this says females, speculation. The 5 female roommates, or the 5 roommate females, Mogen, Concalves, Kernoodle, became blank at the blank residence and quickly became good friends. Chapin was a regular at the residence, which helped them feel safe in the house. Okay. Now, when I say if there's some like really crazy stuff going on and someone's going to come in and burglarize the house, what do they normally do? They neutralize the biggest threat in the room, which would be Ethan, in my humble opinion. Okay. So Chapin was a regular at the residence, which helped them feel safe with the house. And people did say prior that he was spending the night almost every night. Goncalves was a very funny person. And she is describing each and every individual housemate, guys. Okay? She's describing them. So she goes on to say that Kaylee was a very funny person, a prankster, very hardworking, and a person with positive energy. Goncalves had been in a long-time relationship with blank, but the two mutually separated and they shared the dog Murphy. Goncalves may have been in a relationship with blank that was Kernoodle's blank. I don't know what that was, but may have been in a relationship with blankety blank blank blank, which was Kernoodle's blank. I can only assume, but I won't say. Mogen was very loving, a genuine person, social and outgoing. And you saw that in my earlier video. I said the same exact thing. She looked to be very outgoing, very, very approachable, very genuine. And, she posted some really good stuff. Mogen could be sassy, strong-minded, protective of others, and could tell others to back off if they were inappropriate or unwanted. So Maddie knew her boundaries. Mogen was in a good relationship with blank, but there was a kiss between Mogen and blank while vacationing in Mexico. Whoa. Okay, so that's something that's interesting. Kernoodle was very energetic, very powerful, positive energy, hardworking, nice, and genuine. She would tell the absolute truth. Kernoodle was totally nice, but a fighter. Now, this is Dylan telling how she's seen them, her roommates. Kernoodle was totally nice, but a fighter, and would address issues if needed. Kernoodle was in a relationship with Chapin, and the two were very good together, but both Kernoodle and Chapin were fun and the life of the party. Kernoodle was close with Chapin's maybe family, friends, sister, brother. Chapin was a social person, easygoing and easy to talk to, goofy and likable. He and Kernoodle were never far apart and had a great relationship. The blank enjoyed having Chapin at the residence. Blank is a lot like Mogen. She wasn't actively in dating relationship, but hung out. Okay? So this is me reading this as perhaps she was talking about Bethany. So Bethany was a lot like Mogan. She wasn't actively in a dating relationship, but hung out with blank blank. Within the residence, Mogan and Goncalves were the moms of the group. Remember when I said that this morning, that they were like maybe against the booze and the drugs, but they went out because they were older and there might have been some discontention in the house, which is very possible. So she saw them like the moms of the group. Kernodle was fun sibling, and she and blank were the young ones of the group. So that was Bethany and obviously Dylan. And they enjoyed hanging out with the others. All the roommates enjoyed partying at the residence, at Greek functions, and elsewhere, was regularly consumed at the residence by the roommates and others, and blank was used by some. I'm assuming drugs. That's a speculation. The roommates had common friends with blank blank and blank, heavily redacted. All the roommates used iPhones and social media applications for communications, mostly Snapchat. Blank wasn't aware of anyone using social media or any other platforms for money, but recalled Mogan may have had some money from a swimsuit brand for sharing her swimsuit pictures. Now we're getting into the financial side. Mogan and Kernodle worked at the blank restaurant. Goncalves worked from home in a company, and Chapin and blank were not employed. Blank and blank would sometimes go to Pullman, Washington for entertainment and food, but she couldn't recall going to WSU campus. She believed Kernodle had been there to visit her sister. Now, her sister did attend the last year at WSU that Kernodle was attending at U of I. Before the murders, Kaylee had claimed to have seen a shadowy figure watching her from the vegetated area behind the residence, which freaked her out. That freaked me out. Kaylee had also told some of the roommates about a stalker at blank in Moscow. When Mogan and Kaylee returned to the residence during the early morning of November 13th, blank joined the two in Kaylee's bedroom. The four were having fun and discussing their evening. Mogan repeatedly took Goncalves' grub truck food, so they wanted to get more, but none of them could drive. Blank attempted to call the Uber driver to see if she could grab some more grub truck food, but wasn't available. See prior interviews for full details of the morning hours of November 13th, 2022. Blank doesn't know, and this is where it gets good. Okay, this is where I go back to this. Okay, focus on this picture for a minute. This is the guy, the lead character from the Vampire Diaries. How did I find it? I just did a search, right? Anybody can go do a search right here. These are some of the pictures. I just picked one picture that looked really, guy's attractive. He's got some bushy eyebrows. And I just did a little bit of research. So, it's nothing spectacular. But keep this in mind as we go to the next statement that Dylan makes. And this is going to tie right into the car. Yeah, it's a really good looking guy, right? So let's go back into the statement. Let me grab this. And here's the next part. Blank doesn't know why her friends were murdered, but speculated it could have been out of rejection or hurt ego. Now, I am no expert, but this is what I call, in my humble opinion, projection. Projection. Do you all know what that means? I'll read you the correct definition. Projection is a psychological defense mechanism. Projection is a defense mechanism where individuals unconsciously attribute their own thoughts, feelings, and undesirable traits to others. This concept obviously was introduced by the father founding of psychological whatever, Sigmund Freud. It's often used to cope with internal stress by displaying one's feelings onto people or objects. In essence, it involves seeing one's own characteristics in others rather than recognizing them in oneself. That is the official term. And yes, I would love to hear the audio on this, because this is what the investigator wrote. This is what the investigator wrote. Okay? She doesn't know why, but she felt it was out of rejection or hurt ego. She believes if Maddie and Kaylee were approached by an unwanted person, Mogan would have told him to back off or go away. She believes the suspect could have been a stalker. So Dylan is telling the investigators she believed that the killer could have been the stalker. Blank claimed she and Blank were often freaked out at the house, and she felt someone was outside her window facing the backyard periodically. Okay, so who would this be? Because facing the back window of the backyard periodically, who would that have been with her? She normally locks the doors, but doesn't recall if she locked the doors on the morning of November 13th, 2022. Blank recalled the suspect having bushy eyebrows and wearing a mask. This is where the bushy eyebrows come in. She never said it. I did not hear it unless somebody else heard it on the new body cam footage. I never heard her say anything about eyebrows until the day of Kohberger's arrest. Okay. Kenny, I'm glad your visit went well. So when you look at it, it wasn't until after Kohberger was arrested that she said, "Now I remember the suspect having bushy eyebrows and wearing a mask." She couldn't recall telling about the suspect having a big nose, but stated she doesn't remember most of the details of her conversation with Blank after retreating to Blank's room. Now, who would she be having a conversation with, Blank, after retreating to the bedroom, if everyone else in that house was dead? Think about this one for a minute. Who would she be having a conversation with if, I'll read it again, she couldn't recall telling Blank about the suspect having a big nose and doesn't remember most of the details of her conversation with Blank after retreating to Bethany's room? Prior to our interview, Blank had learned about the news of Kohberger's arrest prior to our interview. Prior. Before they sat down and had this interview, she had learned on the news about Kohberger's arrest and had seen his picture. So where do you think she got the bushy eyebrows? Was it after she heard the news? After she saw the picture? Or was it from her loving and watching her favorite show, Vampire Diaries, where she did have pictures of eyebrows in her room? Where did that come from? Was that picture in her mind of a handsome guy with eyebrows from the Vampire Diaries? And then she says, this is the kicker. In her blank, she stated, From people releasing Bryan Kohberger's name, I know it's him, but I don't know. From people releasing Bryan Kohberger's name, I know it's him, but I don't know. In her interview, she stated after looking at Kohberger's picture on the news, nothing came back to me at all. So that, like, and blank, I feel like I saw that in my mind would be like, oh yeah, that's him. But I just don't remember at all. I don't remember at all. Don't you think that if you saw somebody, you would remember immediately, especially since eyebrows were hanging up in her room. She was watching her favorite show. Don't you think that that would bring back and trigger something? I would. No, I'm not blaming it. I'm not saying that she was in the wrong, but she just didn't remember Kohberger at all. So could that have been Kohberger or not? Drop a 1 if you think that she didn't see Kohberger. Drop a 1 if you think she didn't see Kohberger. She saw somebody, but she said nothing came back to me at all. So that and I feel like I saw that my mind would be like, yeah, that's him, but I don't remember at all. Then she goes on to say it feels like there's been a glass wall between her and the things she saw and heard during the murders. What does it mean she saw a glass wall? What does that mean? What does that even mean? Is that slang? What does that mean? A glass wall. Does anybody know? A glass wall between her and the things she saw and heard during the murders. What is a glass wall? Because now she's saying she saw and heard things during the murders. Feels like there's been a glass wall between her and all the things she saw and heard during the murders. Maybe an out-of-body experience? A glass wall, a filter, thin glass. I don't even know what does a glass wall mean? Glass is transparent, like a transparent wall, but if I had to try to decode what a glass wall is, see-through wall, I feel like it's been a see-through wall between her and the things she saw and heard during the murders, or she was separated or put in a bubble, like she was in a glass bubble, or like there's something blocking. She can't understand why he didn't hurt her or blank, especially after she saw him inside the house. She stated the murderer was in all black, carrying an object like a small vacuum. She thought he was wearing black boots. That would explain the boots or the footprints in the snow. She doesn't recall why she thought he was carrying a mini vacuum, or she had never seen the object, the mini vacuum, described before. The interview of audio is in MPD evidence. I'm going to request to see if I can get that audio and see what they say. A glass wall. Is that like separated or... Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard that expression before either. A glass wall. Glass wall. I don't know what that means. She may have passed out for a minute, but her ears still heard. I think a glass wall, let me see, Lorac, is her way of saying she feels like she was present but separated from what was actually going on. Ooh, possible. Very possible. Oh, Phoenix. Oh, I didn't even check ChatGPT. God, I should have. Phoenix. ChatGPT is telling me it's like being protected by a transparent barrier. Wow. I'm meeting with the Idaho governor Monday morning. Well, Kenny, you know what? You tell Raul I would love to sit down with him anytime, any day, and that I will see him at the appeals hearing in late March. And I will be sitting down with him too. So let him know that, you know, we're in good spirits. Hopefully he's in good spirits. So that would be a really odd way of saying protected but transparent, a glass wall, a separation where she couldn't actually just there seem most likely like a dream, a reflection of herself. Did she take part? Oh, there you go, Colleen. You are so smart. That's probably what she's trying to say. Does anybody know what her major is? What she was going to school for? Gain vital experience. Yeah. In my opinion, let me see what this says. In my opinion, I think the sound object in the hand was a flashlight that Bryan was carrying a police taser, but marked on the body. Yeah, it wasn't Bryan. He wasn't even in there. Life without participating in ChatGPT. That's good. Maybe she's, hold on. Maybe that is what she knows and heard, saw something but couldn't reach back to her memory. Well, maybe hypnosis would be something good for her. Keeps telling me like a partition of extra security in a courtroom. Oh, you know what? A glass wall, like you see everything going on. You can hear a little bit, but not sure. Maybe that way. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Little is the governor. I'm meeting with Raul. You're welcome. I'm sorry. It's the AG of Idaho. He's the main guy. He's the one that basically handles all the cases. A bunch of women suing him too. So you're meeting with Governor Little. All right. So that Monday morning at 10 a.m. I'll be your +1. So yeah, so I wanted to read that, and I want you to remember that she clearly stated in this document she does not know Kohberger. She does not know Kohberger at all. Okay, there's no connection with Dylan and Kohberger at all. There, we've got it. And she described all her relationships with everyone else in the house. And that's that. So how did they get to Kohberger? And what did they get? Well, they got his rolling crime scene, which they call it, allegedly. Is it a big gotcha moment? Is the fingerprint dust that they found, could that expose everything? Possible. Here's his car. In the reports and the documents that were released, he has a wind cover, whatever, protector on the front, no sunroof, and it is a newer car originally than what the Bolo was putting out. Okay? Remember, they told everybody, do not distribute this. You can share this internally only. If you see anything, don't touch anything. Don't run it through Whitcom. Don't contact anybody. Keep it separately and do not share this over the air on the radio. This was like top secret, confidential, a bug shield, yes. And when you look at the documents, we reviewed the emails. You can go back and watch those lives. They wanted this confidentially. Nobody talk about it. Nobody put it in the logs. Nobody document anything. Nobody document anything. And that was how secret they wanted this to be, because they were still looking at other individuals. I showed you that this morning. In the emails, they were associating with other people. So we know that he lived in Pennsylvania before he came to Washington. So I've always wondered, how did his car get back to the impound? How did they transport his car back to the impound, right? Because there's no chain of custody of his car. There's nothing. But let me show you So he leaves Pennsylvania, he goes to Washington. And how do you primarily get around in Washington full of bunch of college students? What's the main mode of transportation in the area? This is where my mind went to, okay? The mode of transportation in the area for most of these college students, even, TAs, assistants, research assistants, if they're from somewhere else, they usually bring their cars with them, which Kohberger did. But normally you can get around town. It is a smaller town, just like Moscow, 2 different towns. You can drive back and forth. But keep in mind, the main mode of transportation for a lot of these people in the area are transit, park and ride options. You can carpool, bus schedules, route. A lot of people you see riding scooters and bikes and e-bikes and walking because everything is so close together, which makes sense. There's van pools. They have a Lewiston Airport shuttle if you want to go even further. They have other ways, public transportation, because it's a nice little area. It's not some big, huge city. Now, when you think about that, you think about all the people that lived around Kohberger's area, right? He did live in, Steptoe Village in the area. And there are different, obviously, ways to get around transportation. Pullman Transport, Starline, they've got Uber, Lyft. Bikes are very popular, like I said. But when you start looking at why Kohberger's car, it becomes very apparent that that car in the area is a car that a lot of people have. Very common cars. I was shocked when I learned how many cars in that area are. And what's the other thing he had in common is that he lived within the WSU campus in the apartments managed by the WSU. They had their own, people running the housing there for students, graduate students, research, TAs, students, you name it. And they lived in an area where older individuals lived. And some of these individuals don't have their own vehicles in Washington. Now, keep in mind that if you do not have a vehicle there, and let's just say you're low on little funds, what do? Your friends ask you for rides if you own a car, correct? Yeah. People borrow cars. Hey, I need a car to go to the store. Let me go make a run to get some beer. How about driving me to X, Y, and Z? You're headed this way with me, right? So knowing how nice people are, especially those with special needs, it's hard for them to say no. It's hard for them to set boundaries, healthy boundaries. They have to be taught to set healthy boundaries with strangers. Now, here's where the speculation comes in, because I'm going to show you exactly what the FBI took from Bryan Kohberger's car. Because when Bill Thompson in court said that his car was pristine, that there was nothing, there really was nothing to it. It's not that he cleaned his car, because luminol, amino black, other techniques, other solutions, other chemicals will show if there was blood residue in the car. It will show fingerprints. It will show exactly what the investigators are looking for to connect him to this unaliving. And we know now there was no connection. No connection. But I want you to see exactly what the FBI took from his car. So Pennsylvania gets the arrest warrant, they get the search warrant, They want anything. You can go and look at these documents. They're available for everyone. It's at the Pennsylvania. If you didn't get the screenshot, here it is. Take a screenshot real quick. It's in the judicial system in Pennsylvania. Scroll down. Go look at the warrants. They wanted anything that would put him in association with that house, any personal belongings of perhaps any of the victims, mats, cars, seats, belt, everything, any instruments, and they want 4 samples of DNA. They want anything in regards to his vehicle also. Okay, those were the warrants. That's what they asked for, and that's exactly what they got. And this is the FBI saying, okay, we have this warrant. This is what the FBI took in evidence. What did they take? They took some personal belongings from his address, parents' house. They also noted what they took from his vehicle in full detail, guys. They have to have an inventory, chain of custody. So what exactly did they take? Well, let's go take a look. Let me make sure that I got it up here. It's a handwritten form, and this is what they took. All right, here we go. They took apart his vehicle. He didn't take apart his vehicle. That was a lie by the media. On a 2015 Hyundai Elantra bearing the VIN number ending in 9860, they took swabs and quarters, plastic baggie with a green zipper, 36 dimes, 32 nickels, 8 pennies, gloves, receipts, car insurance, car registration, hiking boots, comfort inn, key holder, and stay information, tire iron, shovel, goggles, floor mat, reflective vest, used water bottles, wrench, door panel. They took the door panel off. They took the door panel off, okay? They took his seats out, seat cushions. They removed them, guys. They removed them. They say right here, seats and seat cushions. This is what they removed from his car. This is the HyundaiPartsDeal.com, okay? They removed his seat cushion. They removed his headrest. Right here. They removed his headrest. They removed whatever it says on this document by the FBI was removed. Seatbelt, visor, fiber, brake pedal, gas pedal, phone charger, Band-Aid, wrappers, maps, documents, and seatbelt boot. I was like, what is a freaking seatbelt boot? Right? That's what the first place that my mind went to. What is a seatbelt boot? It's actually the whole piece of the seatbelt on the side, the plastic part. I thought, well, why would they take that for any residue or anything like that? Wild. I was like, okay, so they basically took his car apart. This is what the FBI put in inventory. They tore his car apart, guys. He didn't tear his car apart. They made it seem like it was all torn apart in pieces and he cleaned everything. No, honey boo boo. No. The FBI took all that stuff and confiscated it. And it says nothing further. And it was signed by FT, the field officer, right there, Shane Yelland. And they took it because they wanted to test it for residue. They wanted to do this. They wanted to take his car apart. And I still don't know. I honestly don't know how they even got his car in evidence. I don't even know if that's the VIN number. We don't even see any documentation. So they actually took apart his car for him and then blamed it on him, saying that his car was in spot, basically apart. But we all know that the media twisted it, made it seem like he took his car apart and cleaned it. That wasn't the truth, guys. Not the truth at all. So when we start looking at this, what were they looking for in the vehicle? This, what you see right here, is fingerprint powder residue. It's white, it's gray powder, it's on the steering wheel, on the dashboard, on the vents. It's looking for forensic fingerprints. It's called forensic fingerprint powder. It's an aluminum flake or a magnetic powder. Now, it's unevenly distributed in the vehicle that we got from the pictures. And it just suggests that the investigators dusted for fingerprints and they left the powder behind. That's why it looks like that. And I'm sure Miss Taylor did know this. I'm sure they did. Because again, she said, Your Honor, my client is innocent in one hearing. And in the next hearing, she says he's factually innocent. Not only is he innocent, he's factually innocent, which means he's double innocent. Double innocent. Now, the experts were going to testify in the house. There was actual cleanup. There was actual cleanup. And you can see that because they sprayed Amido black. We went over that this morning. It looks like fire extinguisher residue. That's what somebody said. It looks like maybe construction or environmental dust. No, baby. This is fingerprint powder residue. Okay? That's the most likely scenario. The least likely is that they had a fire and sprayed something on it. That's what somebody said in a chat. I was like, you gotta be kidding me, guys. You gotta be kidding me. So most likely that it is the fingerprint powder. What were they looking for? What were they looking for if they already had Kohberger's DNA? What do you guys think they were looking for? Anyone? You see where I'm going with this? Come on, guys, think hard. Why were they looking for fingerprints if they already had his DNA and fingerprints? What were they looking for? The picture is not reversed. It's actually in the photographs that we've looked at all morning long. Last 2-3 pages of the 382 pictures that I put out. Here's the actual picture directly there. Look at the pictures before. Let me pop them in here. Hold on. This is the actual pictures that I shared late, 2 nights ago, maybe already. These are the actual pictures that they say is his vehicle in the compound shed. This is the actual one that they labeled what they were looking for. What do you guys think they were looking for? Why? Yeah, exactly. Why would they dust for prints in his car? What were they looking for? Possible blood, fibers, hair, anything? An accomplice, possible? But why else do you think that they were dusting in his car? If they already had his fingerprints, if they already had his DNA, think hard. Think really super hard. I know somebody's going to get the answer. They had his DNA. They had his fingerprints. You guys are getting closer. Getting closer. Getting closer. He had no connection. Let me repeat this again. He had no connection to anyone in the house. Not Dylan. We just heard her testimony. We read her report. Not Kaylee, not Maddie, not Xana, not Ethan. No surviving roommate's DNA. Fingerprints. They already had his fingerprints. They were looking for anyone else's fingerprints, guys. Think about it. Think about that one for a minute. Whose fingerprints could also be in his vehicle? If there was no connection already stated in court, there was no connection. He was factually innocent. He was innocent. Yes, some third party. Some third party that could have said, hey, Bryan, I don't have a vehicle and I need to go pick up a friend. Could you loan me your vehicle? Will I go do an errand and I'll be back? Think about it for one quick second. They tried to put him at the scene of the murders. He had no connection. He had nothing. No, nothing. And then they said, oh, by the way, he even had the nerve to go back to the crime scene at 9 a.m. Holy shit. If he just left at 5, allegedly that's what they said, went down to Lewiston, which who does he know in Lewiston? Probably no one. So if Bill Thompson said in factual, he went back to the crime scene at 9 a.m., well, that's not true because someone saw him at Albertson buying donuts and he didn't have a mask on. That's a factual report. But if he went back to Moscow, it must have been because someone else saw him at an ATM or shopping at Albertsons. I mean, literally, this guy is a criminology student. Why would he even be involved in something like this or go back to the scene of the crime? Allegedly, he was on his way to church before he went to Albertsons and got donuts or something like that. So think about this. They were dusting for prints. They already had Kohberger's prints. They already had his DNA. So what if Anne said, prosecutor, Your Honor, I need you to go back and I need you to get dusting from his car. If my client has told me that there is evidence saying he is innocent, I have to do my best 100% to find the exculpatory evidence to prove it was not him. They had to prove it. If you look at the pictures, you begin to question, well, somebody touched the car, the signal or the windshield wipers, the lights. Did they find another fingerprint besides Kohberger's? Did he allow somebody to say, yeah, you can borrow my car, but just make sure you put gas in it. And then they find out, oh my God, somebody borrowed my car and maybe committed a crime. And now they're looking for me. What the hell? Is that even possible? Yeah, I could see that happening. Totally see that happening. So they're looking for the pattern of coverage, the grainy metallic and white appearance right here. And, I talk with my hands. Right here, the grainy pattern can show a fingerprint. And then they put the evidence. They've taken the evidence. They've taken pictures. And that's what I thought at first when I heard Anne say in a hearing and that they asked 24 times for more evidence. 24 times. Wow. They were looking for more DNA, touch DNA, because remember, if prints aren't clear in this process, these surfaces like vehicles, plastic, they can retain skin cells, sweat, or oils. And it could be from 6 months to a year. So depending on when they did this, there's no time date, there's no stamp. We're not given any date when this was done. This picture doesn't give any indication of when. Even if the prints aren't clear, they can still get DNA, sweat, oils, and steering wheels and door handles are prime spots for this type of evidence. So what was the activity of timeline? I only could go by what the court records said. 24 times they went back and forth asking for more stuff. And sometimes, keep in mind, I did a little bit of research on this. I'm not an expert. Some forensic teams can sometimes prioritize fresh versus old latent prints based on clarity in deposition. So I wonder what they found that they didn't want Anne to bring out to the public during a public trial. What could have that been? Hey, Kenny, if you're going to meet with the governor and you've got Kohberger and you're talking to him, do something for him. Reach out to the Idaho Innocent Project. Reach out to the Autism Innocent Project. Reach out to one of them. Put your money where your mouth is and help him. Seriously. So if that was someone else's print that borrowed his car, wouldn't that put him in a freaking bind? Because now they've thrown him under the bus, they framed him, and the only way out of the death penalty was to plead guilty and maybe later on get an appeal or possible post-conviction release proving that that was not him. It wasn't his DNA. All the evidence that has come out since he pleaded guilty, even though he possibly could be innocent, he has basically the first individual ever to circumvent our justice system with no trial, and he may be exonerated. Think about this for a minute, guys. Think about it. I know we've been sending postcards. We've been supporting him. I got the website up. I've got the attorney I'm talking to in Utah that may be able to help, because no attorneys will touch this case, because then you've got to go back in front of the same judicial system that put him in jail. Now, I could get really spicy. Post-conviction release is possible. I did a whole live on all this. If he has proof it's not him, it was someone else's DNA, it's easier to get post-conviction relief than go to trial and get convicted. Because then you'll spend years and years and years and years in that process. The only way that this crime scene could essentially be a mobile crime scene is DNA, trace evidence that can tie people to movement, timelines, and actions. So if he allowed someone else to borrow his car and they went and did a crime, they've got to find the evidence. So were they trying to establish somebody else used his car near the time of the crime? Did he allow somebody to go run an errand that didn't have a vehicle, that didn't have the access to transportation? Who did he know that couldn't drive? Who did he know? Think about the evidence that was presented. Now, if that was the case, surely he was framed. Surely he was framed. No link to victims. None whatsoever. I read Dylan's statement. She didn't know him. Possibly it was her imagination from the Vampire Diaries that she saw a man with bushy eyebrows that was saving the girl in the show that she talked about. We're not giving up. We're just getting started. So make sure if you like the stream, put your thumb on that like. Put more DNA than he left on, allegedly, on the knife sheath. Because we all know by now it was not his blood contact DNA on the knife sheath. The suspect, real suspect, was injured and left blood at the scene. Make sure you like and follow and drop your comments. Pull up Kai on Vampire Diaries. He says, I'm going to help you. Yep. I played that the other day, and I also played the one where They were talking about being bullied on the Vampire Diaries, and they were going to take care of that individual. And remember, Dylan's own words, her own words, she didn't know why her roommates died, but speculated it could have been out of rejection or a hurt ego. I've always said it could have been revenge or anger via a third party. If she confided in someone of what was going on, who could it possibly be? Who could that possibly be that left some type of trace in Kohberger's car? Like and follow for more. Be well. Thanks for joining. Enjoy your weekend. I will be off tomorrow. I appreciate every single one of you that supports our channel. All I ask you to do is watch the videos, share my post, share my videos, leave a comment, help the algorithm, because we are doing great things here. We are doing great things. And Kenny Chesney, is he in the house or did he change his name again? Maybe you've got some extra funds that you can help pay his attorney. It's going to be a joint effort here. So like and follow for more. As always, every single one of you, be well.
Listen up. The ashes stir, phoenix wings unfurl, seeking truth beneath the blur. Turnings for the latched, meet the blur. Out the flames I rise, wings scorched but unbroken. Truth the blaze I wield, every rhyme's a token. In the nest we move, hearts stumping unison. Searching for the light where the system cuts our wisdom. Built on lies and steel, they boxed us in cages. Now we break the locks, rewrite history's pages. Innocent until proven guilty, that's the oath we recite. Under this constitution we ignite the night. We rise like a phoenix in sync, we claim the street. Nest seekers united, our freedom can't be beat. Stand up when one falls, yeah we got your back. In a free land unbroken, we launch the righteous attack. Justice for the voiceless, break the chains of deceit. Innocent till proven guilty, our victory's complete. System cracked at the seams, built for just a few. We rip apart the scheme, bring the truth into view. Movement swells like thunder, souls fueled by conviction. Phoenix souls aligned, demanding our new vision. Marching on the courthouse, banners paint the sky. Echoes of freedom roar, watch the old guard comply. No more hidden verdicts, no more secrets sold. Every voice is a weapon, every story be told. Innocent till proven guilty, that's our final decree. Under this constitution we stand forever free. Phoenix in the dawn, truth ignites the sky. Together we stand tall, no more asking why. Listen.
Essentially convicted in the media. You don't have to read but a few articles to see how negative they are about him. He has a right to have this information withheld, brought out in public, so that people can see it's not this neat little package. So people can start to wonder if Bryan's innocent. Your Honor, Bryan is innocent.